Hello, guys. Happy Wednesday. Hope you guys have all had an amazing week so far. As always, we're going to give it just a few seconds to hear. It's been a long half a week already. We're going to give it a few seconds here to let everyone get notified that the live has started, and then we will get rolling. So, as always, guys, if you are watching on Facebook and you would like to interact throughout this live at all, I use a streaming service so I can stream to the Six Figure Stylist Facebook group and to YouTube at the same time. If you want to chat with me on Facebook, just click the link in the caption box up top, because if not, I can't see your name. And as always, if you are watching on YouTube and you want to come hang out in the Six Figure Stylist Facebook group, check the link in the description box after the live stream is ended, and I will post the link there. So Facebook user says, literally crying in my car, relevant. It's okay. It's the middle of the week. We only have 3 days left. Today is basically over. If you're on the East Coast, which fingers crossed you are, because your day is almost over. And then it's a holiday weekend, so hopefully you have some time off this weekend, so it'll be okay. Whoever you are, Facebook user, I love you. I'm here for you. So guys, today we're going to talk about how to break up with a bad client, or how to fire a client, how to get rid of a client. And the reason this came up is because I actually had we'll call it a miscommunication with one of my clients last week. And it was at the point that she, I never would want to speak negatively about anyone, especially one of my clients, but we were just not on the same page. We just didn't get along very well. Our personality types did not mesh well together. And I had done her hair probably about 4 or 5 times. And it was to the point that every night before she would come in, I would be trying to go to sleep at night, and I would be like, oh my gosh, I hope tomorrow goes well. I'm just so nervous because so-and-so is coming in. It just makes me so anxious. And that's really not good for your mental health or your business, because then the rest of the day, any other clients that I have that day, they're not getting my authentic self. They're getting the anxious version of myself, because I'm so stressed out about this client coming in or that client just leaving. So this miscommunication that we had really was a blessing for me, because the last appointment that we had, I had told my assistant after, I was like, I just don't feel good about this relationship anymore. And I think I'm going to have to find a way to let this one go. And then I don't want to say luckily we had a miscommunication, but luckily something happened, and it gave me the perfect opportunity to split up, to go our separate ways. So I posted after, it was all through a text message. After that happened, I of course censored out names. I posted it in a hair chat, so I could just kind of vent a little to a few stylist friends. And when I posted it there, everyone was like, wow, your verbiage was great. I'm definitely going to use how you said this to, split up with some of my clients that I've been feeling this way about. So then that's what really got me thinking about doing this live tonight. Was it seems like something that a lot of us are struggling with, and maybe just not knowing how to say it or how to come across professionally and just make a clean cut. So I'm not going to get into all the nitty-gritty details of what happened with my client, but I will tell you guys the key points that I made when I decided to sever that relationship. So first and foremost, this doesn't always have to be a negative transition too. You may just be getting to a point when you're so busy in your business that you want to start phasing out men's haircuts so you can focus on color. You may want to start phasing out single process colors so you can just focus on blonding. I do believe that there's going to be a point in everyone's career when you'll kind of just start niching down, and you may just need a professional way to tell other clients, look, hey, I'm not offering this service as much anymore. So there's a couple different key points that we'll go through, whether you're trying to get rid of a bad client or just narrow down your books. So I just wanted to be clear that you can use this verbiage and these key points to narrow down your book as well. It doesn't have to be just in like a negative situation. So first and foremost, before you decide to break up with a client, it's really important for you to remember that there is an abundance of people that need their hair done. It's really important for you not to go into dealing with negative clients with a scarcity mindset. The scarcity mindset being, yeah, this client stresses me out, but if she doesn't come in every 6 weeks, am I going to be able to keep my house? And the answer is yes. Like, I always look at it as whenever one client doesn't work out, it's best to go ahead and knock that client out, as harsh as that may sound, because you're getting rid of the bad and opening up a space for your new dream clientele to fill. And that's what I believe 100% across the board. This client that I did just have the falling out with, the miscommunication, whatever, as soon as I canceled her future appointments, they got filled. Bam, bam, bam. 2 seconds later with people that I'm super duper excited about working with. So I just want you to keep that in mind. And if you guys feel like you don't have an abundance of clients, really quick, check out the Fully Booked system on hairbykate.com. That's how I built my entire book here. And it's how I can continue to get new clients. And now I'm booked weeks and weeks and weeks out. But that's a story for a different live. So just go into it with an abundance mindset, not a scarcity mindset. Just know that it's not the end of the world if you do have to fire a client, because it's going to help your mental health and you'll feel so much better not dealing with those kinds of people that you just don't mesh well with. So first and foremost, I do always recommend breaking up with a client in a text message. And there's a couple reasons for this. One, it's easier for you to have control of your thoughts. You can type it out, make sure it's exactly how you want it to be and sound. So that way you are sure that you are not coming off in too harsh of a manner. You want to make sure you're sounding professional. And I think if you sometimes try to have that tough decision with a client in your chair, you may get nervous. You may say something that's definitely not what you mean. And you don't have a chance to go back and change your verbiage at all. Like, once you said it, it's out there. So I always recommend doing it over some kind of typed message, a Facebook message, text message, however you usually communicate. And reason number 2 is, in case anything ever does come back around, especially if you're dealing with a really negative situation, you want there to be proof. I know this sounds like complete worst case scenario. You would probably never need it, but you want there to be some kind of written proof as to, this is what was said, this is how it went down. So that way, if it ever came down to, like, God forbid, like a court case or anything, like, I know total worst case scenario here, but if it ever did come down to something other than just breaking up with the client, you have everything in order, complete documentation. So you can say, this is what happened, blah, blah, blah. And you're totally like, got all your boxes checked, all your things covered there. So I always recommend doing it in a text message, Facebook message, something like that. So that's number 1. When you're typing out your message and as you're explaining why you're not going to work with them as a client anymore, you're going to want to make sure you're being totally direct and honest throughout the whole text message. So I'm trying to think of a way I can say this and give you a better example without actually diving into my text message with this past client, because I didn't want it to sound too gossipy. But I think it may just be best if I kind of tell you guys a little bit of the backstory. I know I'm a better learner if I have like an example or even like a visual or something in front of me. So what happened, I'll just give you the backstory. What happened with this client is she came in at the beginning of June, and then I just heard from her again early last week. So a couple of weeks after her appointment. And during her appointment, I had to ask her multiple times to keep her mask on her face. And she had come back in a couple of times during or after we reopened. So she should have been used to the mask, I thought. I had to ask her a couple of times to keep her mask up. And then also there was an issue where we were trying to transition her from a dark hair color to a blonde hair color. So there seemed to have been some miscommunication as far as her not getting blonde in one appointment. And I charged her for 2 different blonding appointments because we did 2 different blonding appointments. And there was, I don't know if it was miscommunication on my end, miscommunication on her end, but she messaged me in kind of a harsh way, saying that I hadn't treated her fairly, that she didn't feel like she should have had to wear her mask, and just all this other stuff. So I took it as an opportunity. Like I said before, this was a client that I did not typically mesh well with anyway. So I took this as a good opportunity to go ahead and sever that relationship and open up that spot for a client that we would work better together. So what I say, or what I mean when I say be honest, is if it's something like that, don't back down on your ground. Like stand your ground. I told her, I said, yes, I did ask you to wear your mask because in my suite, it's very important. Like I'm in charge of everyone's safety. So it is very important that everyone is wearing their mask while they're in my suite. Yes, I did charge you for 2 blonding services because we did 2 blonding services. So I was very direct, very honest, and very blunt. I did say, I'm sorry for any miscommunication. I'm sorry that you felt insulted. That was never my intention. But being direct and honest and not wavering on any points that you've taken will really help that transition as well. And again, that is only if you have had a negative client experience. If you are just trying to open up more space in your books for new clients, I would send them a message that said something like, hey, Tony, I really appreciate your business in the past. At this point, I have decided to go on a more niched service menu. I'm only offering color services at this time. So I appreciate your business, but I will be canceling your future appointments because I am not accepting men's haircuts anymore. So 2 different ways, whether you're dealing with a negative client situation or if you're just trying to narrow down your books, you're going to go about it from different ways. Also, if you don't have a first text message to go off of, like in this situation, the client actually messaged me first and initiated that conversation. If it's just a client that you are trying to send on their merry way and you don't think that you guys are going to work well together anymore, I would open the conversation in the same way and still be honest and upfront. And I would say, hey, Kelly, thank you so much for your service or your past services. I really appreciate your business. But at this time, here's where the honesty comes in. Give them a real answer. When I set this client free, I said, it seems like we just have too many miscommunications. I'm not comfortable doing your hair anymore. So at this point, I'm canceling your future appointments. So be direct, be honest. If it's something like you feel like there's miscommunications, tell them. If you feel like the client shows up late for every appointment, you can say, hey, Kelly, I appreciate your business, but at this point, you've had 4 late appointments or 3 no-show appointments or whatever it is. And because of that, I don't feel like I'm the best stylist for you anymore. So direct, honest, all the way across the board. I always mention in there too, like I was saying, giving you examples. So I always thank them for their past business. because even though some of these clients are a huge pain that we never want to work with and would be happy if we never saw again, they did support your business at one point. So I always do like to let them know that I do appreciate their business in the past, but we will just be discontinuing it in the future. Now, at this point, while you are thanking them for their business, if it's not a negative client situation, if you are just trying to narrow down your books, for example, if you are trying to cut out men's cuts and you only want to focus on color. So you say, hey, Tony, I really appreciate all of the haircuts that you've come in for, but at this point I'm focusing on color, so I'm not going to be offering men's cut services anymore. At this point, instead of just leaving them kind of like high and dry, you can always refer them out to another stylist. So for example, I don't do extension services. So if anyone ever asks me for extensions, I have a go-to stylist that I refer them to. He's great. He's close. We're priced similarly. So it's not a shock for them to just transition over to someone new. So if you are just trying to narrow down your books, it may be a good idea to have a new stylist in mind that you can send these clients to. Now, if the client has given you a negative experience, I will not refer them to anyone because I don't want to send them to any of my friends for sure, or I just don't want any other stylist to be like, why the heck did you send this girl to me? So if it's a good experience, it's a great idea to have another stylist in mind that you can refer your old clients to. If it's a negative experience, I just kind of let them figure it out for themselves. After that, whether I decide if I'm going to refer them or not, I will keep it short and sweet at the end. Again, we want to be honest and direct throughout this entire message. So I always close by saying, thank you so much for your past business. At this point, I'm canceling all of your future appointments. So you need to let them know it's done. Here, there's nope, it's done. We're off. It's over. And then say, I'm canceling all of your future appointments. I wish you the best in the future for finding a salon that can better accommodate you. That's it. End of story. If they reply back, if it's a negative client, if they reply back to you with anything else, don't even do it. Just, there's nothing else that can be gained. There's only losses that can be taken away if you continue that conversation. So keep it as short, sweet, and to the point as possible. And then once you've told them that you're canceling their future appointments, that's it. You don't need to continue that conversation. Obviously, that's going to be a little different if it is a good client and you're trying to refer them somewhere else, then of course the conversation may need to continue. But if it is a negative client, you do not want to continue that conversation and have anything get drawn out more than it needs to be. Then as soon as you send that message, go into your booking system, cancel all of their future appointments. And I think it helps too with my booking system. If I cancel an appointment, I automatically have the option to send a cancellation email to their email address. So I always have their contact information on file. And I like that it sends a confirmation for their appointment cancellation to them, because that way nothing can come back up of them saying, well, I didn't know you canceled it. You have it in a text message. You got an email confirmation. Your appointments have been canceled and we are done from here. And I've had it go both ways. I've had to, honestly, I've fired maybe like 5 clients in my entire life. Most of my clients, thankfully, have always been wonderful. And I've had just a lot of luck being able to narrow down and bring in my dream clients. So thankfully, I don't have to do this often because it is pretty stressful. In this situation, the client did not contact me after. So that worked out very well. I have had situations where I've had to fire a client in the past for being late multiple times. And after I sent her that message, I stopped communication. She did try to continue messaging me a bit after, And she was a little mad. She was like, I don't understand why. I've only been late 3 times, something like that. And I was like, I didn't say anything. And then I think I got maybe 2 or 3 messages from it. But at that point, it kind of just lets you know you did the right thing. If it's the kind of client that's not going to respect your business and what's going to keep your mental health secure, it's not the kind of person you want to be sitting with for hours at a time anyway. So just keep that in mind, guys. That's it though. That's all I do. Just short, sweet, to the point. If you guys have questions, we'll hang out for another minute just to answer anything that you guys may have come up. And as always, if you have questions or don't want to comment publicly, you can always private message me. We have a few comments over here. Allison said, I love your lives. I love you. Allison, thanks for hanging out with us, babe. Facebook user says, lose 1 and gain 3. Yes, absolutely. And I've noticed, especially when you have that kind of abundance mindset, I don't know how woo-woo I feel that the universe gives you what you put out into the universe. But it does seem that way, though. Like if you open up space by getting rid of the old, it just falls into your lap. New wonderful clients just fall into your lap. That, and by running a system like Fully Booked on hairbykate.com. And yes, I love you, Facebook user. Thank you for hanging out. So guys, like I said before, if you have any questions, comments, anything that you want to talk about privately, feel free to shoot me a message. If you have any topics that you would like to discuss on a live in the future, I'm always open to taking suggestions for what we chat about. And that's all I have for you guys tonight. But hopefully you don't have to use this live too much. I hope you guys do not have that many clients that you need to get rid of. But if you do, kick them to the curb, open up that space for your dream clients, and your life will just be magically, wonderfully better. I believe that with my whole heart. All right, guys. So I will see you next Wednesday if we don't chat before then. And if you need anything, let me know. Bye, guys.